I met a gypsy.
All right, Jace, let's backtrack, dude. It has been 5 years since you've been here.
Yeah.
The Gypsies in America. Where do we even start? We together, you and I shot
a lot.
A lot, yes. But we did Ryan Dungey Homegrown, his retirement video. We were in Kansas together.
Yep.
Standing in 9 feet of corn and Dungey jumping in and out of it. You were on a Phantom camera, running around with a generator, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
generator in one hand, 400-pound Phantom in the other.
Yeah.
Then we did Straight Rhythm.
Yep.
And then I haven't seen you for 5 years. What happened?
Literally Straight Rhythm 2017. Yeah. So it's funny because there's so many people that still don't know that I haven't been in the US, because obviously there's a bunch of US podcasts. So
you have a lot of US people on there. So even me, I'm like, how did you teleport over here, dude?
Yeah. So I would just teleport in and out as I could to evade
it's a good
customs.
way. It's a good way. Yeah, it's a good way to evade customs.
I probably should have just sold my teleportation technology instead of give away my podcast for free on the YouTube. Yeah. It's like, I just wanted to get the product right.
It's because you love the sport so much, or you love sports in general so much.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I don't.
Nobody wanted to give back to the community.
Yeah. I don't need these trillions of dollars in teleportation technology. Yeah. But no, so 2017 did Straight Rhythm. My ex-girlfriend, her mum got sick. So I went home to try and be with my sick girlfriend's mum. And I didn't have a work visa at that time. So I had a work visa for a long time. And then I was trying to come in on a holiday visa, got stopped at the border basically. And the guy was like, what are you doing here? And he said, are you working? And I was like, I'm not working. I kind of
I'm not working.
Clearly
why do you have 14 cameras with you?
Well,
no, that's just for personal use.
Yeah, and there was a whole thing. I was like, well, dude, I had a company here. I lost my working visa. I'm trying to get my working visa back. I was trying to explain the whole deal, and the guy just wasn't having it. And, you just get that one guy that had a bad day. And then that whole process led to me basically getting a life ban on my ESTA, which is the treaty between Australia and the US. So you can basically, any American can go to Australia without a visa for 3 months. And so I was trying to come in on that, and it had been a couple of times because I lost this working visa and I was setting up a new company and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the guy basically just said, you're done here, bro. And
you've told me this story before. How long were you detained at LAX?
Dude, I was in jail. They literally
at
LAX in a cell, because I kind of kicked off a little bit. Once I figured out that I was
you were fucked anyway.
Yeah, I was like, Google Burley, motherfucker. I was like, that's where I'm going.
Stick my bows, man.
I'm like, you'll still be in this motherfucker. So anyway, they threw me in jail. It was so gnarly too. They took the string out of my sweater. They wouldn't let me use my shoes.
Wow.
They cut the
they didn't
string
want you
out of
yourself.
Legit. Yeah, legit. So I laid, and it was bright. It was this bright white box of a room with a concrete bed, a stainless steel pisser. And
some dude named Leroy.
Yeah. No, that was with me and Barham. And so I just spent 24 hours in this fucking jail cell in LAX. And then I got marched onto the plane in handcuffs.
Shut up.
They legit, I was just they treated me like I was trying to blow the place up. And then, so I just got put on a plane and that was it. And the reason why it took, I always wanted to come back to the US. I'd spent most of my 20s here. Obviously, this is where the sport is and my kind of my shit,
work,
but I basically couldn't come back unless I was on a legitimate visa. And so, but I mean, it's one of those things, I say it all the time on the podcast when I'm talking to people, that it's sometimes the best things in your life come out of the worst things in your life. And I mean, I just remember being in that room thinking dude, you have just ruined your life. You'd worked to get here and you'd work for all this and you've ruined your life. You've let down all these people. I had a dog in America. I had a car. I had it was literally a nightmare. But I'd done, to go back to Homegrown, Jeremy from Red Bull had given me his credit card to buy a couple podcast mics to do this podcast with Adam LaRoche and Ryan Dungey to try and use it for voiceover for the Homegrown project.
And ironically, it became episode 4, which is really episode 1. That was the first
time
Gypsy Tales podcast that we ever recorded.
Yeah, and I remember Dungey. He came up to me after we did it, And he was like, dude, like I've done a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of this stuff. Like we've worked together a bunch. He's like, that was really, really good. He's like, I think you should do more of this. And I was like, damn, like I really enjoy. Yeah, and I've spoke to Dunge about it since and said like, man, if it wasn't for that, like it was a few things, you know, that kind of like
just
gave
spur
me
of the. It was like you weren't even trying to start.
It
a
wasn't
podcast
spur of the
or
moment.
anything. No. I mean, but like you weren't trying to start a podcast. Like it was just more like.
Well, yeah, I never thought it would be something I do.
You never
Other
thought
people
like
were pushing me to do
episodes
it.
later, right? Yeah.
No, for sure. And then we had like this golf thing that we were sort of doing.
Oh, the golf thing.
We were definitely trying to put Jace in front of the camera way more and have him be a mouthpiece of everything that we're doing. And like you said, the best things come out of the worst things. Him having to go back to Australia kind of forced him to see where he was going to be able to take this and be the person that he ultimately has become. And we are so proud of you.
I appreciate it. And yeah, man, I had nothing, man. When I went back, I literally had the, thank you guys, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I had like 2 cameras at the time. And then
at least they didn't steal those at LAX because you did have them with you, right? They went through your stuff.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. So they basically said, if we let you in, then we're going to seize this camera equipment and then you need to go to federal court to prove legit.
What?
So then,
You're just trying to come over and freaking shoot some podcasts.
And what did you have, the Sonys or Reds with you?
No, I lost the Red. The red went in the So I literally had one Sony. So I did work for you and you paid for that Sony. There was like a shoot. There was a shoot that I did for you and you were like, all right, well, it'll be about this. I'll pay for this.
Dinner's on you tonight then.
100%.
All right.
I mean, I could use some lunch too.
But yeah, it was pretty crazy how it sort of worked out. And then it was cool because it was one of those things where I had no plan B. I had nothing going on. I was looking at the barrel of basically like you get a job for the first time in your life, essentially, since you're like 18 years old, or make the podcast thing work. So I swallowed my pride. I lived at my parents at 29 years old and I just did the podcast.
And one thing you're not even thinking about here is what happened to me. I lost one of my best shooters and my best friend. Gone.
Yeah.
Just gone.
But look at you now. You got this big house. Maybe it was good. We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.